One of the things that caused me to hesitate for so long to fully commit to the decision to homeschool, although I knew in the back of my mind it was what our family was being called to do, is because the task of teaching my daughter how to read just sounded so much bigger and way harder in my mind than it needed to be. However, I ended up, honestly, we were kind of winging it, but I ended up teaching my preschooler how to read in just a handful of months. I would say maybe like 6 months or so from the time we really started working on this on a consistent basis until now, her knowing how to read. So this was only a handful of months of us consistently doing this, maybe 3 times a week or so, never any longer than 30 minutes. I'm gonna share exactly what we did because it was honestly so much simpler than what I had made it out to be, I guess you could say, in my mind. As always, just a little disclaimer, I am for sure not coming on here as an expert. I am not claiming to be an expert in this area by any means. I'm brand new to homeschooling. However, I am super excited and just want to share my journey and what I'm learning with you guys, especially the things that have become simplified to me, the things that I was so hesitant about that seemed so hard and difficult. So I'm no expert in this area. However, I really do believe that we as parents have a God-given intuition and ability to teach our children what is needed. Okay, so every single thing that we're going to be talking about today is going to be linked in my Amazon storefront, which I will put a link to that down below. I have a whole list or category called homeschool or homeschool ideas, homeschool supplies, something along those lines. These things have literally been the things that have made the difference between my daughter going from not knowing how to read at all to knowing how to read. So I hope that these things I'm going to share with you guys bless you, and I'm just going to share exactly what we did from start to finish. We are going to start with the very first thing we did, which is Hooked on Phonics, and this is the level 1 workbook. This is what we started with. My daughter honestly thought it was a little boring. She did not love this the way that she loves all of the other things I'm going to be sharing with you guys today, but I think the big reason for that is because the level 1 workbook, I didn't realize this when I ordered it, but as you can see here, it is literally just learning ABCs and then learning the sounds of each of the letters, like what sounds the letters make. And so my daughter already knew those things when we started, and so that's why this was kind of boring, but we did it anyway, and this is, I think, a really good place to start. The next thing that we did is really when I started to see a big difference. This is honestly the first time that I saw her start to sound out words is when we started doing this workbook called 101 Fun Lessons to Teach Your Child to Read. Yes, this is linked below. I wish I had it to show you guys, but I threw it away because we did complete it cover to cover. We finished every single page in that workbook. Now, I did have somebody who was an educator tell me that you needed to complete the lessons in order for it to work, but we did not do that. I would let my daughter skip around with this workbook. So like if she wanted to do this page that's closer to the beginning of the workbook and then the next day do a page closer to the end, I actually let her do that. It worked well for us. My biggest thing was I don't care if we jump around in the workbook as long as we are completing every single page, and by the time we're done, every single page is done. So we did not do it in order, and it did not make a difference. She still learned how to read with the workbook, but do it, however works for you guys. That's just what worked for us. But I really loved this workbook because one, it was so easy for me as a parent. It told me exactly what to do and say. I didn't have to prepare anything. I could just show up and open the book. It told me exactly what to do and say to teach my daughter that reading lesson that day. And it was fun for her. It was so much fun that she would actually beg to keep going. When the lesson was over, she would want to do another one and another one and another one. This honestly made a really big difference, and I would definitely recommend this book. Okay, this next resource is another thing that we were using when we were doing our learning to read lessons. They're just called Learn to Read Phonics flashcards that I found on Amazon, and I'm just gonna show you guys a little bit of them. They also came with little rings to separate the categories, but I don't know what happened with the rings. There's so many different sections, so the words get a little bit more difficult, but in the easier section, here's how we would do it. At the top, it says at, and then k, there's a C and then in red, if you can see, and then this is what it looks like. I don't know if this is exactly how you're supposed to use these flashcards. This is what we did, and it obviously worked because my daughter learned how to read. So I would say k at, and then my daughter would say cat, and then I would say h at, and my daughter would say hat. I'd say b at, she would say bat. Basically, we would just do a handful of these a day. We did not do anything too extensive, but we were consistent. And then, like I said, as you get further along with the flashcards, the words do get longer and more difficult. Next is these books. They're called Little Books to Read and Color, I think they're called. Again, they're on Amazon. You can find literally everything here is from Amazon. You can find them all in the link below. These books, I'll just show a page for an example. So here it says S. The next page says Sa, and then Sam. So you kind of like progressively sound out the words, I guess you could say. And then here, matching uppercase to lowercase letters. So these books we did, she went through all of them, and then we still have them for review, but this was a really good resource that definitely helped in our learning to read journey. The next resource that helped my daughter learn how to read is these Bob's book sets. We have a pretty good handful, a very wide variety, I would say, actually, of these books. There are so many different ones that you can buy. However, these are the very first books that she was ever able to read or like start sounding out words with. The way that we use these is I would just have her practice reading or like sounding out the words to one a day to me. We kind of just had that routine of like, you're gonna just sound one of these books out to me or read them to me once she got to that point where she was able to do so every single day. The next thing that I did that ended up teaching my preschooler how to read is this bin right here. This is her bedtime bin, whatever you want to call it. This bin is generally put away during the day, but at night when she gets put to bed, I take this bin and I set it on the floor right next to her bed, and she has access to grab out of it whatever she wants, lay in her bed, and while her eyes get tired, work on the things in this book. So I had been telling my daughter for a very long time that when she learns how to read, I will buy her her very own reading light. Her favorite color is blue, so she requested a blue one. I guess this is more like teal, but this is her reading light. She was very excited to get this, and she does very well with rewards, so that was like a really big deal when she finally earned it. She is able to use this light to practice her reading skills / do workbooks. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll just show you guys a handful of things that are in her nighttime, getting your eyes tired bin, which this is something, honestly, she really enjoys doing, and it does help get her eyes tired and like get her ready for bed after my husband or I put her to bed, of course. So she does have some more of these Bob's books for her to practice reading on her own. She has a pretty good handful of these little I Can Read beginner level books. And the reason I put these in here even before she could read them by herself was because what I would do is I would tell her before she went to bed and started reading, I would tell her, you know what, you are not going to know all of the words yet in these books. At the time, she only knew all the words in these books. This was all that she could read on her own. But I told her, you're not going to know all the words in these books, but I want you to still try. I want you to try to teach yourself how to read. I want you to lay in bed and practice trying to sound out the words, because there's going to be some words that you do know. So what she would do is she would lay in bed and she would read the words that she does know. And I would tell her, if you get to a word that you don't know, like many of them you won't know yet, don't get frustrated. It's okay. You don't have to know it yet. That's totally fine. Just remember, and then tomorrow, ask me, and when we're together tomorrow, I can help you sound out the word and teach it to you. So I really think this was a really good way to expose her to new words, pushing past her limits and all of that. So she would lay in bed and read these books, even though a lot of the words she didn't actually know yet. Okay, here's a handful of other things in this book. We've got just like letter tracing, we have random workbooks, we have a penmanship print workbook where you can improve your handwriting while learning facts about animals, fun facts about animals. And you guys, I have so many ideas if you are into this type of thing, or if your kid's into this type of thing. I have so many ideas for things that could go in a bin like this that are really awesome. Activity books, scripture writing, books, whatever for kids. I have so many ideas. Again, it's all on my Amazon storefront, which I will link below. Another thing that I did that I really think helped contribute to this was I started reading to her, not like a few bedtime stories, but like stacks of books, and we would sometimes sit and read for over an hour at a time on a very consistent basis from the time she was literally a newborn and like had no idea what was going on. This is always something we've prioritized and put into our day and our schedule. Even in the busiest times in real estate, I always prioritize this. And a big reason is because I really think this helps foster a love for reading and for books in general. A big reason behind this, why this is something that I was pushing so much, is because I really believe that so many skills that you utilize in life, or that you will utilize later in life, come through reading. You become better at spelling through reading. You expand your vocabulary through reading. You expand your communication skills through reading. You can literally learn about anything that you want to gain knowledge in through being a strong reader. Every single penny almost that I have made in my business throughout my adult life has come directly through the books that I've read. And so those are just a few reasons why this is something that I was pushing so much. Another resource that I utilized that I think really did help was utilizing reading shows on YouTube. There's so many different shows for kindergarten age or all different ages that are learning how to read. And if you just type in on YouTube, like learn to read, so many different shows are gonna come up. No, they're not the most fun. However, if my daughter didn't wanna watch one, what I would do is I would say, I'm gonna pick the first show and you pick the second show. And so during her like short amount of TV screen time, whatever that she would get that day, I would utilize that first show that I pick was a reading show during this time. And I don't think, obviously you can teach your kid to read just from showing them some reading shows, but I do think that these reading shows really did help contribute to speed up that reading learning process. I have two resources that I really recommend. This is called Bringing Up Book Monsters, the joyful way to turn your child into a fearless, ravenous reader. And the next one I do not have anymore, but I did used to have a hard copy, and it is called Read Aloud Revival, and I could not recommend that book enough. I'm gonna end this video here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. If you grab value from this video, hit the thumbs up button, and like I said in the beginning, I am new to this homeschooling journey. This is all new to me. Please let me know in the comments what's working for you. Give me your advice. I would love to hear from you guys. As always, I never want these videos just to be like a one-way conversation where I'm talking to you guys. I want to learn from you guys too, and I want to hear about what's going on with you guys and just have a conversation with you guys in the comment section. So leave a comment, and I'll see you guys next week. Adding this in real quick, I forgot to mention this is one more resource that, again, Amazon has been super helpful. It is not necessarily directly related to reading. However, reading, writing, handwriting, all of those things are important, and it does have some like ABCs on it, but let me just show you guys real quick. A bunch of these, it has an eraser I cannot find, and it has some whiteboard pen markers, so you can reuse it over and over, and this is another thing that I keep in the bedtime basket. Okay, bye, see you guys soon.